Hey everybody, Pikio Gamer here, and this is the third video I'm making today. Got game ramblings this afternoon, and just trying to make a lot of videos about the Switch because it's about here. We're almost here. Yeah, I can squeal like a little girl. I don't care. It's about here. But this is about the Nintendo Switch, and it's really easy to develop for because we found all this information. Let's go into this. It's on Nintendo everywhere. Let you take a look at it. Switch dev taught 50,000 yen for a kit. That's around 443 something other US dollars. So 450 to 500. And Capcom wants to make AAA games and much more. So you're doing direct conversion about 450, 500. This is a real, pretty much let's just break this down simply. 4 or 5 men and women or whoever it's developing in a small dev house. Let's go buy a Switch. We can play with it. Hey, instead of paying $300, let's pay $450 or $500. Let's get the dev kit. Really? It's only $500? It's probably not even $500. It's probably less than that. It's cheap. To have a dev kit, that's not bad. But then also I was talking about next to show. The talk shifted to developing games while hardware also in development. To implement the Switch compatibility of the MT framework, Capcom began to develop this environment quickly. And, I'm going to read some of this. Capcom began to develop an environment to quickly examine the hardware right away. They initially excluded support for hardware-specific features, probably specific Joy-Con features. Also excluded sound and network support, just to get in there, right? After this, Capcom began to develop a PC emulation environment in parallel. Nintendo provided a GPU emulator, which is capable of recreating the same shader of the actual console on PC. The Switch version of the GPU emulator is enhanced, so it's easier for Capcom to create a PC emulator. Everybody's saying it's a shitty system. I don't think it's really that shitty or really that low end. It's actually pretty impressive. It is very easy to do iterations on PC, so the advantage of preparing a PC emulator is quite big. 1 month was used to understand the tools, development environment, and the SDK. Since they had been busy working on other titles, they could only secure two programmers. But with only 1 month and 2 people, they could port basic engine features. The reason why it took a couple months was because the staff was accustomed to porting. Previously, they developed a Wii U framework, MT framework, helping the situation was how the hardware structure was easy to understand. They could use experience in creating conversion process of HL, SL, GLSL. The port process was overwhelmingly faster than 3DS or Wii U. On 3DS, it took 4 months with 4 people. On Wii U, it took 3 months with 5 people. The hardware structure is very easy to understand. Also had similarities to the Wii U so that they could achieve it within a month with 2 people. About main memory space. Capcom had told Nintendo the initially planned space was enough. Comparing that to what's inside the current gen consoles, it definitely wouldn't be enough. In the end, Capcom's request was accepted and the memory capacity became as per their expectations. They listened. Capacitive touch screen, situation considered based on associated costs. Of course, it's difficult to build hardware making the right balance. Let's see. To examine the situation with the CPU clock and power consumption, it's necessary to have a high load application which is close to product level. During the early development stages, there are not many environments which could fit that need. But since Capcom was able to get a grasp on the Switch in just a month, Nintendo offered Capcom to work on the task. In order to polish up the hardware, Nintendo and Capcom collaborated using each other's specialities. It wasn't a one-direction collaboration, but rather a two-way interactive collaboration. Nintendo and Capcom built up trust relationship, blah, 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 blah. Since the Switch's SoC power consumption takes a bigger toll on the GPU than the CPU, Capcom asked Nintendo about implementing a feature to adjust the GPU clock corresponding on scenes. Note this is a development term. So a big scene comes up. The clock, if you're docked, it's probably at full speed. But then if you're in handheld mode, it's okay, and lots of shit happen. Boom, it jumps up. It ramps up, maybe even to dock mode, just for a few seconds or something. let's see. But Nintendo said that even if you lower the clock, the overall process time will be longer, wouldn't necessarily give an advantage to the end. Finally, Capcom is looking into having the Resident Evil RE engine for Resident Evil 7, blah, blah, blah. I know I read through that a lot, but it shows that Nintendo is listening. They upped the memory from what Capcom. It took a month or so for two people, two men and women, to do this, when it took much more people, 5 or so people, to do it in still longer time. So it just shows you how easy, with Unreal and probably Nvidia and all this, Vulkan, all these things that are cooked or baked into the Switch, shows that it's very easy to develop for. Capcom is really going to bring some AAA games to it, period. Will they be exactly like the other ones? May not be. But even if it's a slight iteration different, wow, that's awesome. Dev kits under $500 or right at it, depending on how they're going to, they might even say, oh, we're going to charge you $500 anyway. That's still not a lot. That's still a little bit more than a PS4 Pro or a nice video card, and you got a dev kit for Nintendo's newest system. That's not bad. That's awesome. So this shows that it's easy to develop for, easy to get into, affordable to buy for anybody. Hell, even one man or woman wanting to develop something, they just, if they said, I was going to buy the $300 Switch, I'll put back $150, $200 more. They got a dev kit. It's just really looking good for the Switch and its ability to be developed for and get a lot of good AAA games. Indie games, everybody. Oh, there's not going to be games for the system. It's horrible. Well, whatever. If you still think that after reading all this, I'm not saying it's going to be like the best system ever, but it's got the support, the development. Two people took a month and got this thing up and running to the point where they can make games, at least the basics. Of course, they got to hammer out the stuff in it to get it in there. And with Nvidia is working beside Nintendo to get these emulators, get this thing in there. It's not going to be set over to the side and switches. I don't want to program for that fucking thing. Why? Unreal, Unity, Vulkan. What do you want to do? We'll make it happen. And it's cheap to get into the dev kit, and companies like Capcom are already wanting to get out there. So let me know what you think in the comments below. I'm very excited to see this. It seems like it's fantastic that Nintendo is getting a system out there that's cheap to develop for, easy for companies to get into, and it just up and shows the system is made to get the games. Alright, everybody. Let me know what you think down below. If they should have popped up here, just subscribe and share. And, are you still excited about the Switch? I am. So, alright, everybody. Pick Yo Gamer.